floor if you'd like to join us. Also, if you're joining us via cable access television and would like to participate in tonight's meeting, please use the following link: https://meet.goto.com/town-of-Sturbridge/
This conference will now be recorded.
You can also use the phone using the following number: 1-646-749-3122, followed by the following access code: 819-169-093.
Can you fill it out?
We have almost a quorum. I will call a roll. So Lauren Vivier is our agent. Aaron Carson is our assistant agent. I'm Ed Goodwin, the chair.
Eric Gaspar, present.
Edward Bishop, present.
Carsten Stuber present.
Okay, and Floor is in South America. I'm going to take a drink of this. Sorry about that. All right. Before we start the public hearings, Carson, can you read that?
Sure. In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Committee will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body or resource area and/or within the 200-foot buffer zone to a wetland, water body or resource area, in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL, Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws and associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of the legal newspaper advertisement. If these items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant representatives. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. And going forward, Lauren, do you have anything before we start the public hearings?
I do not, no.
Okay. First public hearing for 605 is 217 Brookfield Road. It's a request for determination of applicability, site improvements, including grading and installation of a paver patio. Owner applicant is Krista and Molly Tyler. Okay. Chris?
Thanks. So we're just looking to expand a little bit area of our lawn and our side yard, making more of a level area for eventually a play set or swing set for our 2-year-old. And then outside the slider door is, when the house was built, is crushed stone, so we're just going to replace that with pavers. So this does fall within the 100-foot boundary of the wetlands. So I guess I can show here. So wetlands are in this area over here. So we're looking to expand in this general area. So there'll be 6 trees that are small trees taken down. The work will be done by digging dogs out of Sturbridge, so removing some of that fill, kind of bringing it in to level out this area towards where the small patio is going to be, and then leveling out this area a little bit for a swing set.
All right. Eric, did you see it?
I did not see this one.
Just start with you, Lauren?
Yeah.
What?
It was just you and Flora on the site visit for this one.
Yeah.
So my recommendation when this project, prior to the applicant formally applying, was to use the existing materials from the slope that they want to level out to bring out to level the yard versus bringing in fill and risking bringing in invasives. This is the property that at the last meeting you all issued a certificate of compliance for a new house that was never closed out. it is completely enclosed by vegetation. Work is outside of the 50-foot buffer. I don't see an impact to the wetlands. The paver patio is essentially pervious, and bringing up that grade will not cause any additional impact or increased flow into that wetland area, as it's kind of gradual anyway, and they're just using lawn, which will help keep that area from any erosion as well. So my recommendations, obviously, for erosion controls, I think that, what do we want here? Straw wattles. It's not a big slope. It flattens out at the bottom. Plus they've got, I think, the wells at the bottom or the septic's at the bottom? Or
There's
septic's
no,
at the bottom?
we're, it was originally, they, I guess they
Foundation drain,
proposed a
that's what it
well
is.
here, but we're hooked up to town water.
Foundation drain is down here, but the stumps are obviously gonna have to come out for where it's clearing, because that's on the slope, so that's where the material is actually coming out from.
So there's 6 trees. The only question I was going to ask in reading the notes, you felt like a 50% replacement was sufficient given the vegetation that's on site.
Right, I think that you can just take a shrub that's gonna help stabilize that slope. So once they regrade, there will be, right now it's more of a berm, it's gonna be more of a slope, once the work is done. But I think just adding some shrubs on that side will help stabilize that area long-term, but
Okay.
it's a pretty sturdy site as it is.
And 3 is sufficient from your perspective, and you.
It's very
you're-
heavily vegetated. A couple of those trees are dead, and 2 of the 6 are less than 10 years old.
Okay. And you're okay with working with her on the choice of the shrubs? So
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
okay.
of course.
All right, I'm good.
Do we need a DEP number?
This is just a determination, Karsten, no DEP number.
You're all set, Roy? Did you say, Preston? No? No, I don't have any, thing either, I think it's fine. Anybody in the audience like to address this?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
With regards to the project at 217 Brookfield Road, I'd like to make a motion to issue a negative determination on the project with the conditions that were outlaid in the agent's detailed agenda. You're okay with all of the conditions?
Second it?
The only discussion point, I don't know, Lauren, if there's any way we can prevent the soils coming in from polluting the area.
They're gonna have to bring in at least some topsoil. But we can just put a condition on there that Phil's gonna be inspected, purchased locally. There's plenty of options in the area, so I can reach out to the contractor, Digging Dogs LLC, and find out where they intend to purchase from.
Right. And they can certainly do that, yeah, okay. All
Do I
right,
need, do you feel like I need to amend my motion to make that happen, or can you just do it through the conditions, Lauren?
I'll do it in the conditions.
Okay.
I second it, yeah.
so all
Was second already.
Yeah.
right?
all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor, Carsten?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, we got 5 minutes.
So we got 5 minutes, huh?
We could do something else.
Your last meeting was really long.
Certificate of compliance?
The last meeting was really long. I saw it already.
Yeah. Well, we tried to get it all done so that when you came in, we'd be able to do quick meetings.
Would you like to move to item 14,
Sure.
certificate of compliance?
Yep.
You want me to do this one?
No, I got it. Hold on. Okay, we are at 94 South Shore Drive. Request for a certificate of compliance, DEP file number 300-1141. William Tetro is the applicant, and they're looking for a COC.
So, the commission might remember this one from last fall. The application for a certificate of compliance came before you, but the plantings were incomplete and needed to be, installed with a growing season. So, growing season has now passed. I went there and verified last week that everything is stabilized and the plantings are thriving, and I would recommend a complete issuance of a certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions listed.
All right?
With regards to the project at 94 South Shore Drive, DEP file number 300-1141, I'd like to make a motion to issue a complete certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions of 37, 38, and 39.
Second that?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
And Ed Gooder in favor. Right. Great.
You want to do the next one?
Yep. Lane 15, it's lane 130, lane 9. It's 130, lane 9, I'm sorry. Request for certificate of compliance, DEP found in 300-1153. Jeff Tassi is the applicant. Issuing a COC is what he's looking for.
This project was completed, I should say, started last year. Landscape Evolution did a paver patio landing and a large set of stone stairs down to South Pond. The project has all been completed, stabilized. I verified the completion last week. Just as a note, the water table, since it fluctuates quite a bit on South Pond, there was actually probably about a foot of space between the water right now and the bottom step, and everything is grown in and looks very stable.
Good. Well, that's good. Was it a stone step?
Stone steps, yeah.
Okay, all right. That's what we talked about.
With regards to the project at 130 Lane 9, DEP file number 300-1153, I'd like to make a motion to issue a complete certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions of 33, 34, and 35.
I second that?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
And Ed Goodwin in favor. Okay. Back to, 615, 170 Shepherd Road, notice of intent, repair of failed septic system, DEP file number 300-1193. Daniel Destavano, represented by Richard Chafee. They're looking for an OOC, so. We have,
Hi, I'm here for Richard Chafee, just as a stand-in. He had another meeting tonight. Lauren, I believe that all of those slips that you were looking for should be on the back of the green cards.
Okay.
And Mike did say that he dropped everything off right after mailing them, I believe, 2 Fridays ago.
Okay.
But
We're going
everything
through
was
the
in the
file.
packet along with, because I know you had asked for them ahead of time. due
Yeah,
to
we're
credentialing
going through the file,
all
but
of
I
the
think
people.
you're good to open, so, if you want to go ahead and just kind of present the project here, let me share my screen. So
Yep, so it's just a septic system. The neighbor, my dad had done a septic system at the neighbor house next door. It's a very similar system, very similar topography. The only thing that he did mention for me to present to you guys is that the septic there now is failing and it's at the water table. The affluent is right at the water table. So this system is going to basically bring the water through, the affluent through, clean it out in a new filter, and then bring it much lower, or higher rather, than the water table, so that it's not, affluent is not going into the water table. So it's an upgrade from what is there now.
Lauren, you want
I'm just adjusting our sound just because we're kind of quiet in here.
Okay. to, sound adjustment?
On which remote? On that remote? So Ed and Flora and I did the inspection. It's pretty clear where the boundary is. Wells in the front of the house, neighbors' wells in front of the house. It's a fenced-in flat area, so the grade's gonna be raised a little bit. So having your erosion control, I think, on the inside of the fence would be the best bet. That way it's not doing any disturbance. It's all pretty much overgrowth on the other side of their little fenced-in area, and I wouldn't wanna disturb that, as that's pretty much the line of your 50-foot buffer. But other than that, it's a septic replacement with no tree removal or any other disturbance. It's gonna be easy access for equipment to get into, it seems. We had no concerns at the site visit. I have no concerns.
Okay. Eric?
Do we need to be concerned with any of the DEP notes about a signature and
Got the signature, and, I mean, it's got the, it's within the riverfront, but it's an exempt project, and we've got it identified within the 50-foot buffer anyway, so showing that extra 200, that's pretty much gonna go out to the road,
okay.
would not be relevant for
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
us, yeah.
Lloyd?
We got the signature.
Carson? You know, I went on site and I agree with Lauren on everything that she said. It's well-placed, and if executed according to the plan, will be fine. So,
Probably won't even notice.
exempt, so. Anybody in the audience like to speak to it? No?
All right, hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 170 Shepherd Road, DEP file number 300-1193, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act with the agent's appropriate notes as laid out and conditions as laid out in the detailed agenda.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 170 Shepherd Road, DEP file number 300-1193, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the additional notation in the detailed agenda under use of pesticides, and also a security bond or deposit in the amount of $1,000 to be provided before the start of work.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? We could discuss it for 5 minutes if you'd like to.
You can approve minutes or something. Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
All right.
Jessica,
Thank
are you
you.
gonna want that mailed, or do you wanna pick it up when it's done?
Yeah, you can mail it to, I can email you the
Okay.
address to mail it to.
Please do that, yes, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
One,
Got a couple sets of minutes.
we got one thing we can throw in here as the chair.
Yes,
We need
sir.
to reorganize.
We put it on the agenda for next
That's what
time?
yeah, so put it on the agenda for next time, and we will only reorganize if we have 100% attendance.
Got it.
That's been the way we've done it in the past, so,
Reorganize what?
well, you know, chair, vice chair, we can go through the whole thing. We've got a new committee as of, you know, with Flora on and the year changing, so.
How long is my term?
What?
long was my term? Because I came in.
I don't know.
Anybody check?
It's normally 3 years,
Well, no, but I'm.
but if they, when they pick you up, it'd be irregular until you get to your regular point, and then from there it'll be 3 years each
Do we
time.
have to do anything?
They'll tell you. Laura had to re-up. She went in and signed up, and even though she was an associate. So now she's a full board member.
So I take it the select board reappointed you then, Ed?
They did.
All right, look at that.
And I didn't even go to the meeting. So,
Approve minutes? Just
Yes.
trying to find where it is.
Do 16.
I abstain from last time, right?
these aren't the last time, these are like four,
Okay.
what,
So number 17.
going to 17,
Got a couple, so
yeah.
So this
you want to start
was
with
reference to the 7th.
Oh, no,
Do-
I went back and checked, and we had already, on those.
Okay.
You had already made a motion to.
I was gonna, that's what I was confused about.
I was a
Okay,
little confused for a moment.
all right.
So I
And,
amended the agenda and took that away.
okay,
So the first one were
this is the 28th.
28,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of March 28th, 2024.
A second.
any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. And you?
Carson Stuber in favor. I was-
Oh, you are on that, okay, good, I thought you were going to abstain. And
And
now 418,
I was not at the 18th, so I cannot make the motion.
okay. Make the motion to approve the minutes of 4/18/24.
I second it.
Discussion, any discussion? All in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Carson Stuber in favor.
Eric Gaspar abstain.
Okay. Now 7/2/24.
That's a sidewalk?
Sidewalk, we don't have to approve of sidewalk, so.
What does that mean?
still minutes.
What?
It was a public site walk, so we did minutes for it.
Oh, you did?
Oh, do we have them? I don't,
What do you mean by public
I
sidewalk?
We
don't,
could table that till next
Okay.
time, I guess.
yeah, I don't recall getting the minutes for that.
What do you mean by public sidewalk?
Oh, is that why you were taking signatures?
So
if-
with your regular site visits, because you do not deliberate on site, it doesn't violate open meeting law. Because this project was a little bit more, involved a lot more, and there was a lot of abutter concern that had been brought up through selectmen meetings and whatnot, we made that site visit public, so we actually posted an agenda, so it opened up the conversation a little bit more, but, you know, technically it was a public hearing that was posted in compliance with open meeting law, so we do minutes for that.
Okay, great.
So we'll put that on the next
That's
one.
for Podunk, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
I could have talked slower and we would have been at 6:25.
We could have used a few,
Exactly.
yeah. Now,
We're on to 322 The Trail.
yeah.
Do we have to approve it?
No. All right.
It's regular on the agenda.
All right, 322, The Trail, Notice of Intent, House Edition and New Deck, DEP file number 300- you don't have it.
Right, yeah, I put it in at the deadline. I called the DEP, they're bogged down. So
Yep.
I don't have it yet.
Just keep calling them every now and then,
Yeah.
you know. All right, applicant is Tim Harrington.
So yeah, I basically, this is the Tantasco Student Build Project. So for the new year, and obviously this is my first meeting in this sort of setting. So if this is not the time for me to explain anything, you let me know. But this is the Tantasco Student Build Project for the coming school year. So basically, my presence here today is just to show you the plan, so that when I come back in August, perhaps I can be assured that the school year can start and the students can start to act and learn on this project. When I learned that the DEP number would be later than this meeting, I actually did go and make some amendments to the plan, so, which is not reflected here. I just got those in this morning. I have those here, and I'd be happy to submit those through the appropriate channels for the August meeting, but I could explain them here, I'm not sure, or I could just share them now.
You can give me the copies, and then you can use this to,
Right,
It's the changes we discussed before, right?
yeah, it's, I can,
I can pass these along.
yeah, I did 3 copies, I didn't realize there were 4, or maybe I should have had 6, I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry.
But,
Maybe they can just pass it down.
sure. So the front copy is existing, the second copy is proposed.
Front copy is existing?
Yes, and the second page is proposed. And so the difference between what you're seeing on the screen and the proposed here is actually 2 feet, basically 2 feet towards the lake more, and then the deck runs the whole length of the house instead of cutting off where it does there. My reason for doing this was because we threw this proposal together very, very fast to get it to Tantascwa, not actually knowing if they'd accept the project. And when they did, we kind of measured it out for the first time and said, ooh, it'd be great to have a little more deck, a little more space for our dining room table. And so that's the reason for the 2 changes of the length of the deck and the push towards the water. As you'll see, it's all pretty far outside of the 50-foot no-touch zone, but I would love to hear your thoughts on that so that I might address that and show up to the August meeting as prepared to hopefully get green lighted as possible.
All right. Laura, you want to start?
Can we just clarify for the board, on the addition, the base of the addition is going to be concrete?
Yeah, right. Thanks for asking.
And then what's under the deck?
Yeah, right. When on the site visit, I'm really glad you pointed out that there was a concrete slab underneath the entirety of the deck, which was something the guy did to create a more indoor feeling in a screened-in deck. I told him to scrap that. It's just going to be earth underneath the screened-in deck, and then pour a poured concrete foundation under the gray square, which is basically what you're seeing on the amended plan too. It's just a little longer. But yeah, it will be extended foundation only on that top gray square, and then earth underneath the deck down the length of the house.
What do you mean by earth?
Well,
Stone? Yeah.
I don't actually, I would be curious to know how I should answer that question so I can show up in August with the right answer.
Well, that's what I was giving you. I said crushed stone is a hint.
Crushed stone is the answer. Okay, that's
I
what
don't think you want something organic under there.
Of course, yeah.
Unless
that
you're going to
sounds-
do potting or plants or...
Well, it will be a decked floor so that we can have like a table on it. So there will be 2 levels of the deck there.
Okay.
It's a ranch house, but the basement is walkout. So the primary deck will be on the main floor, and then beneath it will be the screened-in part. That's like the walkout to the water, towards the water.
Yeah. Okay.
And so yeah, what's beneath that, crushed stone is absolutely fine with me. That would be great if that's
Well, we
ideal for the
really don't
environmental
get
needs.
into recommending.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
We're just trying to, I just said it to try and help a little bit. to
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Move along.
Another thing to consider here that I've had conversations with Connecticut Valley Artesian Well is that the current well is underground. We know the approximate location because I had them come out with some gadgets to locate the thing, but I have a jet pump that is an antique in my basement that you can hear click on whenever the house needs to draw water. And I would, while this is all happening, I would like to get it above ground, as is common practice these days, and get that jet pump, which is a time bomb as a homeowner, get that out of the basement, have the submersed pump. Connecticut Valley, you can see where it is on the approximate well location, the circle there.
Yeah.
I've talked to them about having a well underneath a deck like that, and they said it's no problem, it happens all the time, we just need to have access to it. And they said it can be like, it doesn't have to be a pillar straight above it, it can be like a bending sort of access to it, so it would be fine, according to them, to have an access hatch in that floor and just get the well above ground only as much as necessary.
Yeah, okay, I think there's a legal requirement on
On how high?
how high it has to be.
Yeah, well, I would certainly, Connecticut Valley Artesian Wells is a very well thought of company in the area, and so I defer to their expertise on that.
Okay. No problem. Eric, you got any questions?
No, I think it's cool. The students are going to be working on that?
Yeah, so it's
Awesome.
great opportunity for them to learn, and obviously it's great for me too. So.
So, I mean, we're gonna be expanding into the 100-foot zone. Are we comfortable with the additional runoff inside of the 100 feet and the way it's being handled and all that stuff?
The grade is going to be minimal grading that's even required. The yard itself is fairly flat, even for the erosion control. I mean, the silt fence is great for extra reinforcement, but wattles are sufficient. But there's not going to be any impact with the pitch of it because the top deck, so what's not on the addition, is just going to be the open deck too. So it'll be able to go through and disperse too.
Okay.
So not any more impactful than what's there because there is a concrete slab here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically
That's-
an open patio at this moment.
Right.
I just wanted to
But the
ask
roof
because
discharge
now
and
it's going to
everything,
be, what, 12 feet in the air,
Right.
so, yeah.
And then one thing too is while you're working on things with your engineer, have them do a calculation on your impervious surface coverage because I know that that's something that's kind of in between the boards right now. So just to make sure that you don't exceed that 15%, so that way it doesn't need any type of variance through.
Okay,
Planning
don't
and zoning.
exceed 15% on the impervious what?
On your coverage, lot coverage here. So just have them double check that, in
Were
case
there
any
th-
additional permitting
Were
might
there
be
three magic
required.
words there? Impervious surface something? Was it? No, is
Just
that
your
it?
total,
Okay.
your total coverage, lot coverage.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
So
yeah, I
have
did. I
them
looked
double
into
check
this.
that, so that way you know, I don't want it to hold you up that you get, if you get approval through
Sure.
conservation, that all of a sudden you need to get a special permit or a variance, and then that sets you back even further, so.
Sure. So
while
just
you're
show
on
up
this
with that
page,
measurement. Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. You got it.
save
Yeah,
you
you're
a
well
step.
within it. You don't have to worry about it, but you need the measurement.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right?
And while you're working on this, of course, the students will learn all about conservation restrictions. So when they go to build houses themselves, they'll know where to.
Well, I believe in the works, and I appreciate what you guys do.
Pre-construction site visit, audio staff.
Oh, yeah.
About that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have the
I'll,
students there, and Lauren can educate them.
I'll put out some smart food popcorn.
There you go.
High schoolers love
Once
it.
the erosion controls get installed, we can say, what's wrong with this erosion control and find some errors.
Any questions? Roy?
None.
Just make sure when you get a list of the students that are working on it, that the name Tommy Chamberlain doesn't come up,
Okay.
because he worked on my house.
Okay. All right. I'll put an asterisk. No deal if he's in. We'll keep him off. Thank you all.
And I did put, just so you're aware, I put this through the online permitting program that we have internally, and the Board of Health did comment that a well needs to be within 5 feet of a structure, and he took that as vertical, horizontal, whatever, 5 feet.
What? It has to be within 5 feet of a structure?
Cannot be within 5 feet.
Cannot be within, yeah.
Oh.
If he's within, if you're within
The well is
5 feet, 5 feet.
And the width of this is 14.
Yeah, it's within
So
5
the
feet.
deck is not structure.
Above it, I'm saying above it.
Oh, understood. Okay, so as long as, because the bottom part of the deck will have an access hatch, so if you remove that, then certainly we have 5 feet
Oh,
above.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
Permanent, I don't know.
It's not, it wouldn't be a
Oh, so
permanent.
double check with Board of Health too.
yeah.
Once you have your final plan, run that by them, so that if they require anything to change, you don't have to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so mechanically from here, with the new plan, should I just resubmit a whole thing for the deadline towards the August?
I would
Just
say,
the plan, just the electronic plan, we have the hard
Yeah.
copy now.
Okay.
well, just wait until we get the DEP comments, because if DEP has anything and something has to change on the plan,
Yeah.
we'll go for that. But your hearing's already open, so it just goes under our regular 7-day deadline policy.
Okay.
But I mean, our next meeting's not until August 22nd, so I'm
Right.
sure we'll talk to you at some point in between then and there. And in the meantime, if you have questions, you know to reach out to us.
Okay, cool. So, Board of Health, I'll be in touch with
Board of
you.
Health, yep.
Thanks.
Would
Talk to
you
planning,
like
talk
a
to Board of Health.
continuance until the 22nd of August?
I would love one, thank you.
Like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until the 22nd of August.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Board Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stüber in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor. So we'll see you on the 22nd.
All right, thank you.
All right. All right, we are now at 6:35. We are at 60 Cedar Street, notice of intent, ADA improvements within the recreation area. DEP file number 300, no file number. Get a chair, pull it up.
You guys certainly had an interesting day yesterday, huh? Or was that 2 days ago?
Great day.
Yeah. Thankfully, everything worked out.
That is it. Traumatized.
We do have proof of legal
Yeah.
advertising and butter notifications to open this hearing.
Okay,
Okay, good evening. Chris McClure, McClure Engineering, and I'm here with Andy Rossioli, who's the Recreation Director, and Joe Cohn, who's a landscape architect on the project. I expect that all are pretty familiar with the area. It's the beach area for Cedar Lake, town beach area. So the town's proposing to make ADA improvements to the playground and the beach area. The improvements include 2 ADA parking spaces, which are right down in here, which would give access to an ADA walkway around, actually to the pavilion, the existing pavilion, and also to the playground area. Then a location for an ADA portable toilets, which are going to be right here. Right now, the toilets are located closer to the lake. And a dumpster area here, and some associated stormwater controls, along with these ADA accessible beach mats, which roll in and roll out before and after the season. So they're not out there the season long. So currently, there is no drainage on this site. If you folks have been out there during rainstorms, most of the water is just running along the sides of this road and get right down into the resource area where this culvert is. We're looking to put some stone and a swale along with a catch basin to pick up the water coming down this road. In addition to a couple other catch basins here and some we call it permitted drainage along the ADA ramps that would come down into a rain garden to mitigate the stormwater. That's basically the gist of the proposal. If you have any questions relative to it, be happy to answer those. And Andy's here as well. Just really, it's much needed improvements to this much used facility.
Overall, I think this is an improvement to the site. You're getting the porta-johns and the dumpsters further from the resource area. That current playground that has that loose rubber material, if you go up to the chain link, you can see how it's all just gradually falling out and eventually makes its way into the lake. And I'm sure if during rainstorms or anything like that, so having the poured rubber will be an improvement and stabilize that area. One of my comments, because we got to go on the site visit while it was actively being used, which I think was fantastic, my comment would be that for the riprap drainage swale, having it as a vegetated swale instead, because just the way that the kids are running across in that area, running across the stones, it's just going to be a little bit more of an issue, especially with the younger kids.
Sure.
I think it'll be easier for the town to maintain and less possible issues during plowing season. So long term, I think that would just be an easier maintenance and better for the site. Plus, I think seeing green infrastructure is always a little bit nicer, especially in an area like this.
Agreed.
And then I know we're gonna work on getting an operations and maintenance plan for this drainage. Once you do all the stormwater everywhere, anyway, that's gonna be part of that. The rubber, I don't remember if you just mentioned this, but the rubber matting that's going out here during the site walk, that was mentioned that that's just temporary. It comes up, rolls up for the season. And I'm sure if the beach needs any maintenance, it's easy to just roll up as well, where this is permanent structure. I think the kids might have to reassess this open area where they're playing, but I think that with the recommendations here and my recommendations, it will go to good use and be easier to manage. Obviously, we have to wait on the remaining DEP comments once the DEP file number is issued, and then the stormwater components that are going to be a part of that. But
Eric, anything?
Did you get an answer on your question around the design of the rain garden and replacing the goldenrod with FACW or OBL? Is that something that's important to you?
I mean, the goldenrod will, it's not really a requirement. The goldenrod will still do fine there, but just something to possibly consider depending on how wet it gets in that area. And also with the areas around there, I thought that the slope might be a good place to add some milkweed as well. I don't see enough of that in that area.
Yeah, I think it's a great project. Are there access mats currently on the beach, or is this a new thing for the town? That's fantastic. Thank you for doing that.
There is no access, ADA access anywhere at the facility at this time.
That's great. Good job. Awesome. Thank you. I have nothing.
How long will the project take?
We don't expect that. Obviously, it can occur in the summertime, so once you get approval, I would say probably, Joe, what do you think? I mean,
Yeah, probably the infrastructure as far as the walkways, things like that, that's pretty standard construction. The poured in place rubber is more of a specialized process. I'd say within 2 months, the entire thing could be done.
Procedurally, can this go out to bid before conservation approval? Do you have to wait for this approval before you can put it out for bid?
Probably want the approval first.
yeah.
Roy, anything?
That's it.
Karsten? Anybody in the audience? Keith, didn't think, you've been down there many times.
Continuation to the 22nd then?
Yes, please.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until the 22nd of August.
Second that?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Caspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
And Ed Goodwin in favor. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Lovely ones. We're continuation, and I know it's going to go quickly.
You're up, Keith.
Yeah. All right, we're on 106 and 108 Paradise Lane. Notice of intent for demolition of 2 homes, followed by the construction of a new single-family home. We do not have a file number at this time, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. Keith? Lauren, you want to start off?
I think his representative is joining us on go-to.
Just pull it up first. Here.
Yeah, Scott-
Yeah, I saw him here.
Yeah, he should be,
Yeah, he was on there.
He's just muted.
Yeah, I saw him. It's sure.
Small enough there.
Yep.
All right, who wants to go first? Scott?
I can go first. Scott Jordan from Ecotech. Good evening, folks.
Need a little more volume
Project.
here.
I thought the volume's on their end.
No, settings, go to settings now, the one next to it. Come on, Scott. All right, speaker.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there
Oh,
we go.
yeah, there we go.
All right. Jordan from Ecotech. So the project is consists of removing 2 single-family houses, one which is decrepit at 108, and also removing 106, and construction of 1 single-family home with associated grading, a deck, hardscaping, some steps down, as you know, this is on Big Elm Lake, so it's steep down. So we'll have retaining walls and steps down, and we are moving this house back. So this house is located outside of the 50-foot, no structure, including the deck. The existing structures are located
So where's the
about
50-foot
19
line on that? Could you run the,
Sure. It is basically right, runs right
Yeah,
in front of this deck.
right in front of
Right
that?
there,
Yeah.
right there.
All right.
Yeah, so those are located 19 feet and 31 feet from the pond. So we will be moving our structure back outside of the 50, so there's an improvement there. The only work we're proposing in the 25 is to decommission 2 wells. It's an existing lawn area up there by the pond, so we've just shown our erosion control barrier to get around those wells to remove those. That's the only work in the 25. We've given a lot of consideration to erosion control.
Where are the
on
wells
site.
going? Oh, you don't need a well.
No, so these will be,
Not in this
yeah.
And then the new well's up top, right?
We have a well on the, away from the lake, roadside.
Oh, so you don't have water.
that-
You have, you
No, it's
have-
just town
you have
sewer.
sewer,
It's
but
just
you don't
town
have
sewer.
water.
That's correct.
So you're draining the
We actually do
aquifer
have
into the
water.
lake, right?
My well's only like 6 feet deep, so I can't water the lawn.
All right, I'm sorry I interrupted. Go ahead.
No problem. That upper portion there behind the house is an existing parking area. We are actually preparing some revised plans. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, we don't have a file number, and we know we'll be coming back. At your recommendation, we're actually going to probably do a retaining wall as you come off that driveway, that steeper section. We had a 1-to-1 rip-rap slope. We're probably going to go retaining wall there. So we'll provide you with that. That's not a huge deal. And it's probably more stable. We'll get the immediate stabilization there. So it's a good thing. The remaining slopes will be 2-to-1, gradually going to 3-to-1, and then, relatively flat down in front of the house. So we have on sheet 2, we have a detail sheet for each area of slope treatment. So we're taking this seriously. These 2-to-1 slopes have to be stabilized with bonded fiber matrix, hydroseed, or blankets. And as we move down gradually, then we'll just go with the hydroseed. And we do have, we're using wire-back silt fence in a few different locations. We have one up top there at top of slope. I think you can see it. That'll be a wire-back silt fence to help with run-on control. Run-on possibly coming onto the open construction site. And then further down along the proposed house, we sort of have a mid-slope interruption, erosion control barrier. Again, it'll be wire-back silt fence with wattle. And then down at the limit of work, at the 25, same thing, wire-back silt fence and wattle. The wire-back silt fence has 2-inch stakes. It doesn't blow down with the wind, and it's much stronger if there was any erosion. So we feel like that's a pretty good plan. I'm not sure if Chris has anything to add, but I think that's all I had. Be happy to take some questions.
Yeah, we had discussed, we are gonna get the corners of this house staked out so the commission can go back and see. Some of these stakes will fall into, where the existing structures are, but going back to what Scott said, this is where the existing structures are currently located now, and we're pushing it, all the way back to this location, so overall improvement relative to that. There is some vegetated area in the front here that's gonna just remain untouched, and what he has, Keith has now will, he'll be able to utilize that for access to the lake.
Taking the house, what's our next site visit date?
That will be determined later on this meeting.
What?
That will be determined later on in this meeting, or we can wait and I can try and organize it via email, or we can do like 2 tentative dates for Floor to decide too, but.
It would be the week of August 12th, 12th, 13th, 14th. 12th would be a Monday. So it'll be that week.
What does that look like?
I'm not traveling that week, so I'll be around.
Roy?
It's always a crapshoot.
Yeah, okay. Carson, you gonna be in Europe again then?
No, but I'm close, actually. I just came back from Rome. But, I think it should be okay.
So, Lauren, what's the best day for you? The 12th or the 13th?
Rather not do Mondays.
Yeah, the Mondays are more challenging for me.
Do Monday,
Tuesdays
too.
are better.
Yeah.
Tuesdays are
Tuesdays are what?
better all around in the world today.
Yeah.
So we're looking at August 13th.
14th.
Is that a Tuesday? No?
This might have been addressed on site, but where the previous cottages are, what will the ground, what will it become? Like, is it going to be grass there? Is it going to be vegetated? What would the plan be? Houses for the cottages?
Partially house.
Yeah, mostly house.
Right,
yeah.
but it looked like according
Yeah,
to
the
this.
cottage on the left has just grass to the front of it now. The cottage on the right has vegetation. So right in the middle of that line to the left is all, well, you see the cottage on the left.
Where the actual grade out where the homes are, is it a foundation that's being filled in and then putting some grass on top?
There's no foundation.
Yeah,
It's just on
I'd be
some blocks.
surprised.
It's just on
That
some.
one probably not.
The one on the left is actually on, it's all Coke bottles and cement
Okay.
and rock on the left, so, and the other one is just a couple boulders holding it up, so.
Okay.
Which can't go in because it's falling, it's already imploded.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there'll be no disturbance to there's nothing underground.
Okay.
So what about replacing the trees that are cut?
One of the requests that we made on the site visit was to have a little bit more clarity on the trees, so you've got some trees that are showing up here. Like these ones are obvious that they have to remove, but there were, 2 in question up here, so, on the plan revision, we just requested that it was a little bit more clear for the trees up here that are going to be removed. Down here, nothing is going to have to be removed. They might have to do a little bit of management just to get to where this well is, because this whole yard is all overgrowth. But there's no intended removal, and I think that, I didn't get as far as conditions, but I would have a recommended condition that as they're in the area, if any other tree is determined to be unsafe or a hazard, that they're gonna have to file a tree removal request to get anything that is not part of this approval on there.
Questions?
I always like it when I see houses going backwards away from the lake. So
Yeah,
this
no,
is
that's always
not our
positive.
normal.
The house and 2 wells.
Yeah, I'm a little gobsmacked. I got to be honest.
It's deep enough so that after they build it in a couple of years, it might just slide down to where the other one is.
Yeah, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Back up to the top, quick. So, this is current Yeah. This is the current wall that's there,
Correct.
and when we were on site, we talked about the possibility that that was going to remain.
Well, you mentioned that there's 2 ash trees
Yeah, right about
holding
here.
it up.
Yeah,
And those are gonna be recommended for removal.
yeah,
So when we're after you guys left, we had an engineering meeting, and right from that wall down is a 1-to-1 slope. So we wanted to build a new retaining wall for the driveway. It's like 3 or 4 feet this way to get the proper footing at the end of that slope. And then really retain that, because you, as you saw, it was just piled stone. It's,
yeah. No, I,
To replace it with a new retaining wall.
yeah.
Replacing it with a new retaining wall.
but, and what elevation will that go to?
It would remain at 760. 760.
I drove out of there, I wasn't in love with your exit.
Me either.
No.
Oh, the entrance, yeah. Yeah, I'm in a tough spot.
Well, the entrance, it's all right, but.
I'm in a tough spot. Yeah, I mean,
When it comes out here.
obviously to
Bit of a blind spot.
build it up and, is advantageous and all that, but then,
Okay, I just hit you with it, because
One of those mirrors.
no, obviously if I can grab a
Those
couple,
mirrors across the way.
yeah, all right.
obviously if I can grab, because the positioning of because it'd be a real retaining wall, they want a pretty big footing at the
Yeah.
end of that 1-to-1 slope,
Yeah,
and I think right now it would be about 6 feet,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so yeah, if I go 8 feet, then I would obviously
yeah, make it,
build it up and,
it would be a,
but again, that's why I'm here to get your recommendations. Because pulling out of there is horrible.
yeah,
And if you have a car that's low to the ground, it scrapes.
yep. Well, no,
Yeah.
we all have SUVs, that's not the problem.
Yeah, right.
The problem is you're gonna get hit.
So is there a concern if we went up, let's say 2 feet to get the grade from the road, or?
Well, I think you'd have to bring us that plan, I don't think that, have
I want
that,
to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we weren't planning on
about-
changing the level, but,
yeah. So,
And
I have to drive by there. I need to see this now.
oh, Jesus, bring an SUV.
this is definitely a
have that.
site.
And it's a company vehicle, even
This
better.
is definitely a site that I think that everyone should go out to.
it's gonna be
we agree
marked,
it's
so
in
we're
the-
gonna go out, that's what,
Right.
that's why I was talking about the.
I know we discussed it when we were on the site visit, but during construction, you'll be accessing through the neighbor's driveway.
Correct. Tracy
Do you think
Murphy.
that you're gonna have to do any vegetation management to easily access it?
I didn't go that.
I'm just,
Which side
I
is it
think
on?
that we might wanna have,
The driveway.
it's on
What?
this end.
Where's the
I think
driveway's a
we might
little
wanna
bit
just
Yeah, you're right,
have,
there may be some trees, but we didn't
yeah.
really go into details.
So maybe we can outline kind of a construction sequence for this project, and with
It's a wall
that,
and then you walk.
stating that access is gonna be through the neighbor's driveway, and maybe we can just get
road
like a little
goes along
signature
like
from
that.
her saying she agrees to it, just to
That's a
kind of cover
walkway.
tracks
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, I spoke with him this weekend, so,
Yeah,
and
just-
he's actually
perfect.
planning, in front of your committee too, so.
okay. I think that the commission would feel
I definitely
more
see
comfortable
signature.
just having something
Oh, yeah, you can't
showing
just
that
say, yeah, I'll
they
use my
agree
name.
to
Yeah,
it.
I understand.
And just, reevaluate that whole area, so if something has to, if you have to, limb some trees or move something in order to easily access that site, let's incorporate it in part of this project.
I didn't really notice if we
No
had.
construction vehicles or anything on this property.
Yeah,
It'll be at the top eventually. But-
They'll be, if he's gonna pour cement, I'm sure he's gonna pour it from up above.
Well, I was just wondering.
I mean, just saying, so he's gonna be on that
driveway's
driveway.
like right over
Detailed
here.
construction sequence would be very important here, since we're gonna have phase erosion
Right.
controls, it looks, and.
And that will assist Aaron and I going down the road when we're
construction
following up on the
matting
project.
and,
Yeah.
Where's the entrance? Yeah. Where's the dumpster gonna be for that? Removal of all the building and different things. There's a lot of.
Exactly, there's a
Yeah,
lot, there's a lot there.
of what ifs for this.
There's a lot, and there's no flat place for any of it.
Right. I mean, even the parking, like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of construction projects on that street right now, and like where will, hopefully they'll find a nice place for their vehicles to
Yeah.
go while they're working. It's just, all those details are good to have for the, before we get on
Absolutely.
site.
So I think we've taken it to a point here. Do you have any questions of us as far as things you're thinking of doing that you don't dare ask us right now, that kind of thing?
I'll leave that up to Scott. I can just come up with the ideas and let people present them.
Pass them on, huh?
Just out of curiosity, so as part of the putting the detail on which trees are coming out, is there also going to be a detailed planting plan of what replacements and offsets will be as part of that? Okay. And you'll work with Lauren to make sure that they're appropriate species for
Yeah,
the...
we definitely, and we have plenty of room off to the right to do that.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, we're in the process of figuring out the trees that are coming down, and we do have an opportunity. Lauren, if you could scroll down, page top right, we have an opportunity to do some plantings within the grading. Oh, I'm sorry, the other way. Yeah, so in that area to the right, we could probably do some plantings within the grading, and then where there's no proposed grading, hopefully there will we could save all those trees. So we'll figure it out. Get you folks something.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And it'll be all native species indigenous to the site, white oaks, red oaks, pines, that type of thing. I think we saw. So we'll make sure of that.
Okay. Keith, would you like a continuation?
Yes.
Meeting?
22nd, all right. I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing till the 22nd of August.
Any discussion? Anybody in the audience? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
William Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
And Ed Gooder in favor. Thank you
very
gentlemen.
much.
Yeah. All right, we are now at 24 Cedar Lake Drive, notice of intent, house addition, DEB file number 300-1201.
And your applicant is online for you.
All right?
Just zoom in on this.
Hey,
page.
Glenn Kowalski. Also Glenn Kowalski from EBT Environmental.
Oh, Glenn is on.
Hey, Glenn.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Today.
Joining us from sunny Florida.
All right.
Yes.
Both of them are in.
So who's
sunny
gonna start up? Glenn, you?
I can, thank you very much, Mr. Goodwin. Sure, thank you for the site inspection there, and Lauren and Mr. Goodwin on that last inspection, looking at the proposed addition where the existing deck is. Mr. Cantera can give you this. I don't have the plan with me. Go roughly 6 feet by 15, and he can clear up. If I could ask him the exact length and width, it might have some change to those numbers. But it's a two-structure building going where the deck is. We had described that we would put a drip strip in on the northern side where it does land on grass, and that was his proposed work. We did add in a northern red oak and a white oak. As you're facing the lake on the left-hand side, just to add some saplings to the project. If I could ask through the chairman that Mr. Cantera add anything else that we do have an erosion control barrier we put in. Also, just the staked wattles. This would be screwed in anchors, three of them directly where the posts are now for the existing deck, which is at ground level again. So we're just going to take that deck off and then build an addition. He's expanding his family, Simon from Auburn, and he presently lives in the home. It's year-round, and he's just expanding it a bit for the kids. And so Mr. Cantera should be there, and he can add any additional, please.
I'm here, Glenn. Good afternoon. Thank you for seeing our file this evening. Glenn did a really good job without a
little bit.
I'm cheating.
Can you, Mike,
Can you speak up a little?
speak up a little bit?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Good.
My name is Nicholas Cantara. Thank you for seeing me this evening. Glenn did a very good job with describing our plan this evening, but on the plan that you see, the gray shaded area is our proposed addition. It carries the existing deck, so the 6 feet out towards the lake, and then the 15 and 9/10 inches wide is the exact dimensions of the existing deck, so our new construction will not exceed the existing footprint. If you look very closely, there's 3 red squares at each far end, and in the middle of the long section of the addition, those are S3 rated Techno piers, a commercial-driven pier that is brought into the ground, into the soil at a pressure rating, so there'll be minimal soil disruption. For that, the blue line marks our wattles, and the blue circles mark our 2 proposed saplings.
Okay.
That's it.
Lauren, anything from you?
Thank you, Chief.
Again, the project is pretty straightforward. There's no tree removal as part of this project. There are 2 plantings that are proposed. Out of that area. Northern red oak and a white oak. As the applicant mentioned, the area currently has a deck on it, so the deck will be removed and techno posts are being used for the addition, which is less invasive. Or less ground disturbance, and the techno post really, it's for anyone that's not familiar, it's a simple machine that goes in. It doesn't even really make any mess whatsoever, so it's a simple construction process. Erosion controls are proposed. There were no DEP comments on this project, so they do have the DEP file number, so recommendation is to close and issue an order of conditions.
All right. Eric, anything from you?
No, I'll just ask the same question I did in the last one. Roof runoff, you're happy with?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm good.
Carson? And I'm good also. So with that, anybody in the audience like to speak to this? Seeing none?
Motion to close the public hearing.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Aspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 24 Cedar Lake Drive, DEP file number 300-1201, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act with the conditions as laid out in the agent's detailed agenda.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 24 Cedar Lake Drive, DEP file number 300-1201, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the additional conditions covering the use of pesticides and also a security bond of $1,000 to be provided before the start of the work.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
And now, at
Erin,
30...
do you need anything else from me?
Nope.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We're now at 36 Champeau Road. Continued public hearing for the notice of a single-family home, wetland crossing and replication, DEP file number 300-1194. Okay, Kevin Lammy is the owner applicant, and representative is Scott Jordan, Ecotech.
For the record, I cannot vote, but I will be participating in discussion.
on, Scott.
Scott, do you want to start, or?
Yeah, I can go real quick. Good folks, Scott Jordan from Ecotech. Chris McClure there from McClure Engineering, project engineer. I was on site last week with Lauren. Lauren had wanted to see this site, so we walked we walked the house location and the driveway layout, and she had a couple of revisions, recommendations, minor stuff that Chris was able to provide, and I'll let Chris go over those in a second. One recommendation that I took care of was she had requested some additional mitigation for the proposed tree removal between the house and the lake. Again, 6 trees we're requesting. 2 of those are within the 25-foot no disturbance zone. We do have a letter from an arborist stating that they are unsafe. One's about 24 feet, and one's about 20 feet from the lake. So a total of 6, 2 of those in the no disturb zone, and we're proposing 18 shrubs, mass-producing shrubs that are indigenous to the site now. So we provided that today. Chris, would you be okay with going over the plan revisions?
Sure. So this is a full plan set. Obviously, the driveway is 1,350 feet long. We did provide an earlier submittal, kind of blow-ups in the areas that the commission was concerned with, the crossings, the stream crossing, well, actually, the driveway coming in off of Champeau Road here, stream crossing, and the pad around the house. So as far as paving goes, we're going to be paving just the initial approach off of Champeau Road. The rest of it will be gravel until we get down into the area around the home, between the barn and the garage, down and through this area here. We have provided silt fence, basically going to show the limits of disturbance for the driveway coming in here. We also added a swale, water quality swale, along the driveway to backside of the home, provided some additional topo shots to show the grading so that the water doesn't go past the home. It's basically going to be directed towards this little area here and infiltrated at storm water. We moved the house back based upon information provided to us by the client, and added a little retaining wall here to limit our disturbance, keep our disturbance outside of the 50
Show me the retaining wall.
It's right here. Now, Lauren, we sent I guess it was the last submittal. There was a blown up.
The one that I had sent back to you today?
No, it was on a previous, I think probably prior to the last meeting. I probably should have resent it, but I
already have.
That's it, this one?
Yes, that one, yeah.
What's the title
So
of that one?
if you go into the files that's online and just go to the plan from last meeting, it's the second
Can you see the
page.
title of it?
Oh, sure. It is 36 Champeau Road revised site plans. And it's the second page.
Last meeting, then it was around June.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. June 20th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have been probably
Second page.
Second.
Page 2, I recall.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the area where the retaining wall that we put in.
How high is the retaining wall?
The top of wall was at, what do I have here? 664, 662. So it's just a 2-foot wall, basically to limit. What we were doing is trying to gain the space between the pool and the patio around the pool just by grading.
So that basically eliminates the grading going down that slope.
What's the distance from the resource area to the,
Here's 100, you see what my 50 is. That would be my 50 here. So we're probably about 75 feet, give or take, roughly.
okay, so you're within the 100-foot?
Yeah.
And pretty much the vista is being removed?
No.
No?
Scott, what was?
There's two large trees that are within the vista that are actually on Army Corps land, so I've requested that we get written approval from Army Corps that they grant the removal of those trees with the arborist report. If that's ends up being kind of a holdup, my recommendation was to remove the removal of those two trees from this project and just have what's within this property and then come back for the tree removal. The other trees that are being removed are both more to the side, but it's just those two that are within the vista. There's all vegetation, there's no removal of trees on the bank.
There's no removal of anything from Army Corps?
I don't know if they're on the plan. There's two trees that are within the 25 that are on our Army Corps.
And we have permission to remove those?
Not at this point, so that was something that I've requested. I guess you can't really see it on here.
Yeah, we do have verbal. I'm sorry to jump in on you, Lauren. We do have verbal. We thought we would have that letter by the hearing. We don't have it, but we anticipate that we will obtain that. And I agree with your approach. The other approach could be to condition those trees cannot be removed without the letter. That way we wouldn't have to come back to amend.
And while on the site, Scott and I talked about replanting, which they've proposed here as well. But there's no tree removal on the bank itself. There's no plans to have that immediate access to the lake. Also, that is on Army Corps land as well. So if the homeowner down the road is ever looking to have an easier access to that frontage or put a platform or remove trees, that's technically on Army Corps land. So not only would they have to file with us, but I mean, that'd be a whole process in itself. We did look at the property and I did my evaluation as far as considerations for pushing the house back because of the existing grade. If you were to push the house back any further, it's going to be a lot more grading, a lot more fill that's being brought in. So overall, it's going to be a greater disturbance to the land itself. And then I was talking with Chris today about just clarifying the limit of work. So you've got the silt fence that's in the front that my recommendation is going to be to have the limit of work be on the erosion control, but clarifying this area, kind of wrapping around here, so that way as construction is beginning and as we're going out to the site, it's very clear of what those boundaries are, if any tree removal is required outside of that limit of work. So just a little bit more clarity. But I appreciate all the requests that I've made have pretty much been shown on there too. We've got the 2 utility poles that are showing on the driveway as well. That was something that was not on there previously. So you've got, I think they're up by the crossing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So you've got 1 utility pole here, and then
There's another one,
Another one
right
on the other side.
here.
Yeah. So that's been added to the plan. We've got the detail on the wetland crossing. That just another detail of just the house itself, showing that limit with the erosion controls. The stormwater that we've kind of put in, it doesn't require stormwater, but with the grade on the driveway, especially with the bottom being a paved apron, it just made sense to have some type of controls, because while it's evident that at some point this site did have a cart road that was being used, since it's all overgrown, it will be a change to the landscape. So having the check dams that are in here and the swales are going to be beneficial to slowing down any new stormwater that might be trying to go down in that road. And that'll also help with the long term of the maintenance of this house for the property owner's sake. One of my concerns was just water coming down at such a fast pace in this area that essentially it's doing damage to the foundation and whatnot. So benefit to both the wetland and to the homeowner. So I think there's a little bit more work that still is going to get done, and hopefully we can get all that out within the next few weeks. My request to the commission is if there is anything else that you would like to see improved or see on the plan or have a detail of, if we can make that request today, so that way we can hopefully have a final plan prepared before the August 22nd meeting.
Eric?
Yeah, the only question I have is, let's assume that the Army Corps provides the okay to remove those 2 trees in the 20-foot.
Which Scott says they verbally said.
Yeah. So let's assume that that's going to happen. As a practical matter, what kind of protection is it currently giving via canopy or whatever? None.
The trees have some dropping branches, and so I mean habitat, but that's essentially it. It's all vegetated in that area, and no change to the bank.
That's what I assumed, it was just habitat. So
Right.
that
So I
being the
think
case, is
having
there?
the shrubs, I think, are going to be sufficient because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to do the higher habitat, but that ground level. So, birds and anything on a lower level that have that extra shelter and space and
Okay.
whatnot too is sufficient. So I think, what did we say? I think 18 going in,
Yep,
correct?
I think that was the number. 16 or 18.
At a 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anyway,
No, Lauren, good job on the write-up.
yeah.
Thank you.
Been a lot of work.
And I would just like to publicly apologize to the applicants as well. I know that it's tough when this has been viewed at by so many parties. It opened up with Becky here. It went under when Jeff was here. Erin was on it by herself for a while. You've all
You're not
looked at
resigning
it.
tonight, are you?
No, I'm not. But now I'm
At least
looking
see this
at
through.
it, and I have all these additional comments just from another perspective. So I understand that that's a challenge, and I appreciate your patience
Yep.
and cooperation in working me with this.
Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to continue this and get those final answers, get the whole thing buttoned down.
Does the commission have any additional requests?
I don't know, all within what's been said here. I'd like to go, take a walk out there and take a look at it, which
Wear your long pants. I'll bring the GPS next time.
well, I can go down to
And
I can
spray
get
the
right down
pits.
to and go in the road, right?
Yeah, you can walk in that little trail area
Little
that
trail
will bring you up
area.
to the house, but if you're
Yeah.
planning on walking the driveway area and the replication, I did end up having a tick on my shoulder when I got back, so snuck in.
As did,
Yep.
as did,
Shocking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, right? Daily. So Lauren, can you summarize one more time what you're looking for from us, other than the Army Corps letter? I'm not certain what else. I'm not sure if Chris
On-
knows.
So the plan, which I think was the same one that I just had up, but this was the one that I had sent earlier today. So you have this area showing the house. Obviously, there's been some more details that were recently added onto here with the stormwater. I would just like to see more of a limit of work on expanding on this way and down in this way. So as construction is going, we can see, it's more clear, more defined as to what the limit of work is. So, say hypothetically one day Aaron and I show up to do an inspection and all of a sudden there's a fully landscaped lawn all in this area. We just have a clear definition of what that work consisted of. So that was one of mine. I'll have to take a look back at my email. I think most of it was pretty addressed. The Army Corps letter, obviously. And if you want to include, you could probably even get it on this here, if you expand it a little that way, but you can put your replantings on here as well. That make sense?
Yep.
Okay. I'll double check that email and see if there was anything else that I had asked for today.
So are you requesting a continuation?
Yes. Yes, Scott.
I can't.
Okay.
Okay. With regards to the project at 36 Champo Road, DEP file number 300-1194. Hearing until August 22nd.
I have a second on that.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Thank you.
Now, yeah, we're beyond that, but the question comes up. Laura's coming back when?
She'll be back for the August meeting. I think she comes back next week.
We need her for the vote on this. All right.
You need the three of you for the vote, but I think she still wanted to go to the site too, just to comment, but. So for August, Roy and Karsten and Ed, we need to make sure that you all are here.
Right.
Let us know if anything changes.
Do you want, Ed, would you like someone to go on site with you or just staff?
No, I'll go down there. I'll take a gun and go down there and see if the deer are around or anything. No, I don't care. Either way, I'll go with people or without.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go back out again too if you want
Yeah,
to, once we have that plan. 'Cause I'm probably gonna go out one more time once I have, because I want to see it with the stormwater controls on there.
So we are now to
7, number 8.
Oh, damn.
My God. 7:15, 29, 30, 31, Mount Dan Road, continuation public hearing for a notice of intent, fence driveway, DEP file number 300-1192. Applicant is Keith Larouche. Representative is G. Kowalski, EBP. All right. Ben, are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Glenn Kowalski's here, thank you. And I would ask if Brandon Forcier, the contractor, or Mr. Ferrucci is here. He was out of the country, and I have been requesting Mr. Forcier to come on if he could get here. I'm not sure they're there. I hear nothing from them, so I'll continue.
Okay.
Thank you for that last site inspection. I know Eric was there, and Aaron and Lauren, thank you. More discussions, additional information came in to the board, I believe, from my office relative to, if I can start on top of the hill and move down, there was the grading issue. We had asked DC to get the grading done. We had asked them a few times. We needed the grading for standing on the road facing the garage. To the left-hand side of the garage, that grading plan was along with that, Mr. Ferrucci, if I could say that, Ferrucci, I'll call it that way. He had a plan from Paraland Surveying.
I think our internet's pausing.
Please hold, we'll have some time.
Standing and facing that garage, the tree cutting down was
You've
an
been
issue.
totally broken up.
Yeah, we lost you
Came
for
up with
about
a
2
commission.
minutes there.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Chief. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, if I'm breaking up, then it's going to be a problem. But, well, anyways, the trees are shown. They're mostly dead. One of the members had a question about the trees. The property line is pinned on there's pins on that. We did find them, so we're staying on our property with both the dead tree removal, that large oak, the white ashes, emerald ash borer issue, leaving the sugar maples that are living, and doing the grading for parking with crushed stone to the left of that garage as you're standing on the drop on Mount Dan facing the garage to the left. If I continue on, I know you're going to have questions probably, so I'll just move on down the hill. on the other side of the road, the house side, there was some question initially about water running down the asphalt driveways. We did show, I did miss something. I missed the drainage swale and the crushed stone of the drainage swale on the driveway side. I'm going to back up. The crushed stoning of that drainage swale, 3-inch, 3 to 6, to ensure that it stays in place. We believe, as it was told to us by the commission, that it wasn't permitted. We have agreed to crush stone that swale so to stop the erosion on our property in the swale, and then, and prior to that, putting in a water line around the catch basin, again, standing in the garage, that would be lower left on the drive, that where the catch basin is, inflow, and stabilize that area with the crushed stone. Again, then I'm going to move back across the street. That when the gentleman did the grading on the road without a permit, he did tilt the driveway towards the garage side of the, and let me just say, if I can call that the west side of the road, if Mount Dan is running in a north-south direction. And then on the west side of the road, again, that the driveway does tilt towards that. So we didn't show any significant flow. I couldn't see any meaningful flow down our asphalt driveway towards that S-turn switchback, which the lower part of the switchback we do not own. And so we weren't concerned, or at least my group wasn't concerned, with water flowing to the neighbor. We had shown when we went all the way to the end of the switchback, there was no leaf movement. That was the first site inspection we had. So again, we don't see a flow in that direction because of the tilting of the drive to the west and not to the east. We are going to saw cut the driveway at the property line to our neighbor to the north, and then put pervious pavers in. Mr. Goodwin did want a maintenance, the companies that have these pervious pavers do have a maintenance understanding, BMPs, that if you do not have that from my office, which I did ask, that was the one thing in my mind today that I did not recall you possibly getting. We would like to take a condition that we give that to you, and I know that you already have conditions from other projects that must be similar, was that power washing the pervious pavers to ensure that they continue working. I know Eric had a question about that they can get clogged. I believe, I'm not speaking for someone else, but as I recall. So we'll ensure that you have that maintenance schedule for how to maintain pervious pavers. And as I continue moving down the slope, we saw cut the drive at the property line, 2 locations. There is a plastic type fence that's up there now. We want to continue that where we come close to the switchback coming back in the southern direction towards the house. That piece of asphalt closest to the house, which is part of the, looks like it was originally part of the drive. We're going to saw cut that again at that property line, northern property line, put pervious pavers in there, maintain it. Then I'll go now to from the road down, there's that set of stairs. We did bring in the agent, the partner of Mr. Brandon Fortier, and he explained, because that was still up to the area, how are you going to stabilize to the right and left or north and south side of that driveway and put in granite steps. We were working with them on Webster Lake on slopes similar to this. They've done quite a few. He did do his best. I hope it was sufficient to explain how they do hold it in with large boulders to the north and south side in our case, and put the steps in, crushed stone underneath them, following the standard 7-inch drop and the width of a step to go down to the bottom, not violating your 50-foot no touch. So the steps are already still there, as you saw. There was a question about walking on them, as I recall, with Eric, but that's where the steps will be. And both sets of steps, the upper ones and the lower ones, will be put in exactly the locations they're in, and they will be granite, and their side slopes will be held in by large boulders that they'll work from the top and along the driveway to place them. Again, something that they're familiar with. I'm not sure there was much more up the top. Again, the plan's not in front of me, but I think I went from the top to the bottom. Thank you, and any questions? Do I still have you?
You do.
Oh my God, I lost them the whole
You
time.
have us.
No, you had us.
He's speaking for himself. I wasn't.
Oh, I thought I'm going like, I love talking a lot and having, and then I wanted I talk so much? There was nobody there. I'm sorry. If you heard me, thank you. Are we all set? Are you good?
I still think we're not quite seeing the total square
Well,
footage.
commission chooses to close, we would love it. Okay.
I don't know.
Total
So I
square
think-
footage.
Yeah, the total square footage of that area up by the
what?
existing garage. Is it? Just says 500 plus square feet.
Well,
What's the
it can
slope?
be scaled out. I mean, it's not a large area. Okay, I'm making a note on it.
What's the slope?
Garage area.
It goes from 763 to 759. I just don't have the paper scale to do the math.
Goes from 753
There's 2 points that I'm gonna have to get back to you on. I'll
763
get you the
to
slope and I'll
759,
get you
so
the
it shows
square
4 foot
footage on
drop,
that. Any other questions that you might have, I'll ask for a continuance.
Does it go, I read that as
That
766
you
to
still have.
759, isn't that
I was
a
going from
a
up-
7-foot drop? I'm going from the
From the top of it?
bottom.
I was looking, well, just
I'm
right
going-
above it. It's
Further carry down.
Yeah, so what's
66.
proposed is, the 763 down to the 759, but it's at 764, and so. But so that's not too much of a change to the slope that's there now, but we walked that.
Yeah.
Well, because
So I-
closer to the building, it is less slope, but
Right.
as you start
I
to walk
told DC
into
They had
the,
to stay under 12%, because
Yeah.
12%, I believe, is, if I recall, from,
That's the driveway regulation.
so
By putting the parking area.
We're ensuring that we kept open under.
They're taking all the trees out, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to torture the Conservation Commission with not having the answers in front of you.
But he said most of the trees are dead.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
Trees
live
are
trees
coming
will
out for
stay,
the,
in the area we're not excavating, and the dead trees, will go.
right, I'm still, Glenn, I'm sorry that you can't see this, but remember on site, we were talking, there's a couple of pretty substantial trees that seem to be kind of outside of the area of clearing, and obviously there's that one that's right on the edge that you're going to have to take out. But why is it necessary to take out all of those?
Of the majority of the trees, on the plan that you have, if it's clear and blown up, the majority of the trees, the ashes in that big large red oak were dead. And so we were moving them for that. One was leaning, and then there was only a shagbark hickory, as I recall, and 3 sugar maples that were staying. So dead trees were going, and live trees were to the left or south and south and west of the clearing area. If we need to give you more clarity on that, it's our pleasure.
I'm counting 11 trees to be
I don't
that are
wanna-
dead.
Okay, well, each one should show either the dead or alive, because we located the trees, and then I went up and identified the species, and then which ones were dead and alive. And that, I do recall, not on the last plan, which should still be on the last plan, but the plan before that is where they showed up, and then the last plan showed up the grade. This would be much easier, and again, you have a lot of hearings to go on. I don't want any questions that aren't resolved. I would ask for a continuance and resolve those questions. That's what happened.
All right, so separate from the trees, because there's at least 4 alive trees on there that I'd like a clarification on. But
okay,
there was what has gone on with the road? Because there were some questions about, and do we have to take that into consideration in this conversation?
Essentially, the road itself was done without permission,
Right.
which also means it was done without proper guidance. So now that the homeowner is doing work on his property, he's now responsible for at least fixing the portion on his property, which includes the riprap on the drainage swale, putting
Right, you're
walls on that inlet, which was something that was kind of one of the first things
Yes.
I ever brought up is,
Yeah.
you know, all these homeowners that have now problems created, essentially they're responsible for fixing it.
Yes.
This one just kind of works out that they're doing a project, so we're getting some action out of it, but,
Right, but so you're happy with the way
Bring it
that,
down
that the water
that
flow
it
is
pitched
gonna go?
inwards.
Because as soon
It's
as,
better that
as
it's
soon
pitching
as
inward
it,
and into the inlet
yeah,
than having it pitched towards the house, and that's typical what you'd see on a slope, is that the road is going to be should slightly be at an angle, so that way it's going in more, it'll slow down the flow, and it's gonna allow more control in it that way.
yeah,
Should the inlet
So
be?
it's not that the project was all bad for the Mount Dan Road, it was just there's things that could have been done to prevent some of the silt runoff that we're seeing, and even in some areas where the slope was brought down 2-3 feet, that now it's got exposed root system and trees.
Right.
This area is not horrible, but there is a significant amount of silt that is washing into that inlet because of all of that disturbance. So adding the swale is going to help with that, but I think it's going to be a greater partnership with the abutters as well, because if their areas are all exposed and having silt running off onto this property owner's site, that's in separate enforcement action that's in process.
right, but, so in approving this, even though it's a net improvement on the property owner, are we making a net negative to the entire situation because the entire situation isn't being cured? That's my only concern, that we're swapping one problem for another. And we know what this problem is.
Well, my question, Glenn, since that work was done, has the grade on the road on this plan been updated? Because now, if these are
Has
accurate.
it gotten worse, the grade on the swale, if that's what you asked? No?
Yes, has the grade,
The swale hasn't, it seems to be intact from what was originally built. Go on.
okay.
So
Sorry. There is some breakup
Well, there's
between.
corrective
I
action that's
apologize.
coming out of this with
And so-
adding the
so the-
drainage swale.
We're gonna crush stone.
So it's not
We're
accepting
gonna crush stone the area that we're
road work
opening up.
that was
We're gonna
done.
crush stone the swale, and we're gonna also clean out the catch basin.
Do you understand my concern, though?
Yep.
We
We're not- we're not-
cure the issue on this 100 feet.
Right, and we will clarify that if and when an order of conditions is issued, we will clarify that this does not approve any road grading that was not part of this plan. So if, say you approve the grading that's being done up at the top, we'll clarify that we are approving the grading of the 500 square feet with the
Yeah.
installation of the crushed stone. So we'll make sure that we note in the conditions that that this did not authorize any grading or change to the road itself.
Okay. And
That's gonna have to.
my grander question, I guess I'll just ask it straight out.
Yeah.
You're comfortable that this isn't going to make things worse?
For this property, no.
Okay,
And for the abutters on this property, no.
okay. All right. That's all I really wanted to know. Because it looks like it has the potential to. So
But-
if you're comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it.
There's other areas that I have more concern.
Oh, absolutely, further down, yeah.
Glenn, Armit Swales is one, but you're going to put those stairs in, and the way you're gonna put them in is by filling underneath them? What's the width of the stairs that you're putting in, the granite
It'll be,
slab?
Which
the
one?
same width that's out there for stairs now, I believe that.
In kind, right?
Well, both sets of stairs, there would be no wider stairs or deeper. It's the same angle that's out there now.
Yeah, I know.
And it'll be
You
using
made that-
large rocks on either side, the whole.
We can ask for that
Okay.
to be
Ready,
added
okay.
to the actual plan.
Because the backfilling is, you're gonna put vertical backfilling in that? Under that?
Unfortunately,
I think we probably just need to cut this off.
Yeah.
This is becoming more frustrating than it's worth.
You could ask for a continuation.
Yeah. Like to make a motion, unless there's any comments.
Takes so long, guys.
Like to make a motion to continue the public hearing to August 22nd, okay, Glenn?
them, hold, it'll, 3 feet.
It sounded like a yes.
That's not like a yes.
Yeah,
Okay, there was a
Second thought.
why don't we do that?
Any
Because
discussion?
I'm missing every other word of you. You're missing my words, I'm missing your words, and so it's a killer.
Maybe he could plan on being in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Did you move already?
Yeah.
He seconded it.
Thank you so much, people, thank you, I'm sorry for this.
Carsten Stuber in
Thank you,
favor.
Thank you, Glenn.
We'll see you at the next meeting. In the next meeting, too, I believe we have a continuance, and I thank you again for your time, please, thank you. Bye-bye.
Ed number 9, we received a written request for continuation prior to the hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get a motion for that?
I'd like to, I gotta pull up my file. What DEP file number is it, or do we not have one?
300-1166.
All right.
To August 22nd.
Should we discuss this? How long has
Oh
it been on the
my
books?
goodness. This one?
Number 7, 2023.
This is a year and a half,
Yeah.
right?
Why are we continuing something that?
When was it, in 2022?
I think it was December 22.
Yeah, so
My
a year and a half.
recommendation is going to be that when the applicant is ready, that they re-advertise and re-notify abutters. And that's something that I'll also address further down in this meeting too, but I feel that it's the commission's responsibility of keeping, abutters informed on the project, and when there's been that big of a gap in any new materials and any hearings, abutters tend to get lost and now don't even know what's going on with the project. So
That
gonna
seems
be
like a reasonable measure to just making them refile, so.
Incorporate that now?
We'll have to ask their consent to work with, because otherwise if they do
Meaning that
not.
they have to.
So if they don't agree.
They have to refile.
If they don't agree to, if they don't agree to it, then you can deny the project. For lack of information, for no new materials, for the fact that
Right.
it does not comply with the existing regulations. So you have grounds for denial. I think that in efforts to try and work with the applicant, that might be a better approach. So we'll see how their
Yeah,
response is to that.
that seems reasonable, and if they don't want that, then.
Glenn didn't even mention it.
He sent us a written continuation.
Oh, did he?
via
Okay.
Email, and he did explain
Right.
a sentence or two.
So, before I make the motion to continue it, can we get communication out to the applicant that either we would like this to be re-advertised and re-notify the abutters before the 22nd of August, or we want a fully fleshed out plan, or we're gonna likely
So
deny
we'll
the
have
product?
to still have it on as a continuation for
Yeah.
August 22nd. And then, if they do not agree to the re-notifying of butters, you do not have to choose to accept the continuation.
Right.
And that's option 1. Option 2 is that we agree to continue, and with the stipulation that the applicant notifies the butters and re-advertisement with the associated fees that have to be collected from the town for re-advertisement.
Yeah, okay. That sounds reasonable. So I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until the 22nd of August.
That's for DEP file number 300-1166.
Yep.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor. All right.
Number 10 on the agenda, also received a written request for continuation. We did
Was
not
that
have a
Brand?
file number as of yesterday when I left the office. We did receive a file number late yesterday, but they need to address the multiple comments of DEP, so
Yeah.
going with the continuation to next meeting.
Okay. With regards to.
File number on that.
I could get that for you.
Well, I'll make a motion without the file for the project at 10 Shattuck Road that we continue the public hearing until the 22nd of August.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
And for the record, the DEP number is 300-1202.
1202. Now we are on to
11.
11.
Also received a written request for continuation. There is not a DEP file number provided for this project as of yet.
We also have not received any new materials or anything that was requested at the last hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
Eric.
With regards to the project at 1 Old Sturbridge Village Road, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until August 22nd.
I second that.
Discussion. Any? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor. All right. We are now on
12. We have
755.
Podunk Road, 2.5 miles with various addresses. Continue the public hearing for the notice of intent distribution line upgrades, DEP file number 300-1200.
Story about that, Sturbridge Village.
I would like to say we received, I did not distribute it, and it wasn't posted on the website, because but we did get a letter from Chris from Park Corp about the asbestos testing that was done for the roof shingles that were on there. And I don't believe that I don't know where this will end up tonight, but for recommended condition, I have something on there about testing the soils once that's been removed and any remediation that would be necessary. So that was something that was discussed on the site visit.
So there was asbestos found?
Yes. Dirty shingles.
Shocking. Nice that they put clean fill over there.
Well, good evening. My name's Allison Milliman. We've met at the last hearing here with BSC Group. We also have
Jeremy Sherman, the project manager, and we have some other folks on the call as well.
Okay. Want to bring them up?
Yeah. Bill?
Let them hide.
All right. Alex?
Alexander Lutz from Control Point Engineering.
Laura?
A little bit louder.
Laura Ernst, National Grid Environmental.
That was good. Alexander? Say again?
Yeah, let me try again. Alexander Lutz, Control Point Engineering. I'm the designer for the
A little bit
project.
better. The shy type.
No comment.
Last but not least, Brandy.
Brandy?
Wow, you come in
Brandy's
full
currently
force.
on National Grid Forestry.
Can't hear her.
Yeah, you gotta turn up your mic, Brandy.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
A little bit. Yep.
Loud is better than quiet. All right, go ahead.
Brandy, no, National Grid Forestry.
Thank you.
She's National Grid Forestry.
Oh,
Yes,
okay, yeah.
So when I was here 2 weeks ago, I provided an overview of the project, and I jotted down some questions and some information requests from the commission. And then we had our site walk last week. It was last week, right? Okay, we had our site walk last week where we went and looked at the proposed distribution line, the extension in the old road layout there with the tree removals. We had a request for a table broken out by 25, 50, 100, and 200 foot buffers with all the assorted impacts that are happening in all those buckets. And we provided that. Has the commission had an opportunity to review that updated table? I think it was provided last week.
Sure, I haven't.
Did we get that?
Mm-hmm. It is on the website, so I would recommend.
Oh, it is on the website?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if.
Go on.
I got it.
Okay, well, I'm not indicting you, I'm just
I don't
asking.
remember which day.
It's dated July 3rd, so
July 3rd.
let's call it the 8th.
The 8th, huh? All right, okay, go ahead.
Okay, I do have a hard copy of that as well. I can leave with you if you prefer. And so then we have this pretty nice detailed kind of set of information that was in the agenda. And I was wondering if there was interest, if there's interest in going through those items now, or if there are any other further follow-up discussion points that the commission wants to have with the team.
So, and I saw it, but it took some time to get through. So just give me the high notes. I mean, there's a lot of disturbance going on just inside of the 25-foot. Give me the high notes of what the replication efforts are going to be in and around that.
Replication.
Because, I mean, some of this stuff is inside of the 25-foot, but some of the stuff is actually inside of the wetland, right? So,
What are you talking about? In the wetland, I remember you were, there was a flag confusion color. The flag.
that's right. So maybe it wasn't
Was
in the
not
wetland.
in the wetland.
Yeah, that's right, because you were using pink flags for two different
Yeah,
things.
and I totally,
Yeah,
yes, there are too little colors for flagging.
Right, yeah, okay.
But there is none in the wetland.
And there was also that, oak, that, the gnarly one that looked to be healthy but was hanging over, and there was some discussion about limbing that instead of taking it completely out, because it seemed to be an appropriate solution to that, or at least it would be looked at, but.
Yes, so that was up on the road, right?
Yeah, it was,
On the
well, on
The
the.
opposite side of the lines.
Yes.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah. You got this?
3283.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you know exactly which one it was.
I wrote
You know that tree?
Thank
And
you.
there actually was a
Yes,
note in
but
here
we
that
need
did
to
say
go
that
through
it can be
Okay.
limbed, that it will not be removed.
Good.
So that was part of the reviewed materials, the new stuff that we received.
So just to clarify, high levels on the table. There are 45 tree removals proposed within bordering vegetated wetland. So that's the big one there. And then there are 25, the 25-foot no disturb. There are 2 pole replacements and 2 pole installations. And then there's 38 tree removals within the limit of disturbance. 38 of them are dead, 95 are living. And then pole replacement tree removals, 2 are dead and 1 are living. And then within the 25-foot no disturb zone, we're looking at approximately 5,000 square feet of a grassed access way conversion from what's forested at this time. Do you want me to continue on with the other buffers, or
Well,
those are the
I'm
big
just
ones?
curious, that's what's coming out, but what's going back in?
You're asking about what the plantings are.
Yeah, it's fine, it's coming out. What's going back in to kind of, provide some canopy and some privacy for these folks, but also to protect the wetland?
We did a few things since the site walk. I'll start there. We did look at the other side of the road. Brandy is from our forestry department. Brandy, I'll go over this high level, and we'll kind of work to sort of answer your question. I think we see having poles on both sides kind of unusual. It's not, you usually don't see that. We do think the trees on the side with the poles are kind of less desirable species and in worse condition than the trees on the side without poles. I think the species of trees there, Brandy, you can help fill me in or fill the folks in, are just healthier and provide more of a canopy. They sort of bend over the road.
Yes, that's correct.
So, we looked at that. We also thought there'd be some larger tree removals there. As far as replacing the trees, we are working with the tree warden. We would like to, the tree warden will choose whether it's compensation, and the town will choose whether it's compensation or planting new trees. I think it's a pretty tight area to put more trees in right now, but we would like to work with these folks to put trees on their properties as part of that solution. So if, there is a way to sort of, not like a zero sum, but some plantings for these folks and then some compensation to the town. Whatever's fit to the tree warden is how we would approach that.
And how far are you in those discussions of that? Because I know that there was a discussion around a trust fund or something that could be drawn from for the residents, so that could actually happen. But
we're exploring options internally. So I've met with the town administrator, the town planner, the tree warden, and the DPW director of trying to come up with what the best action of solutions is going to be here. I know that our town planner had requested that there were 2 different GIS files that you can use trying to overlay that would show the whole project
We have
with all the
created
tree and
one.
species.
Not with the trees, we showed, we've one where all the poles are.
Okay.
Were going to be placed because we were doing these pole petitions sort of very piecemeal, and they were growing tired of it, which is reasonable. So we now have one map showing all the poles.
Great. My request is that if we can get a copy of that, and if you can add to that the areas of it that are wetland, or at least more the commission's jurisdiction, so we can have more clarity of where all these boundaries are, because it's gonna have to go to tree warden, because it has to go to scenic road. And with that, this commission is obviously going to be obligated to require some replanting, which is going to be extremely complicated for this site. Also because there are 2 other stakeholders here, plus the residents that are also going to be requiring planting. So I spoke with Gene, our town planner, today, and we thought that it might be appropriate that once we get to a comfortable place in this project, that this project then goes for the scenic road permit and the tree hearing, see what those boards are going to require, and then we would go on top of that. Because say we finalize everything and we want these shrubs and these trees here, but then it conflicts with what scenic road requires or what they agree with the homeowners. So I think that we can have all of that encompassed together, and it will be easier for this commission to make their decision, and also avoiding having to reopen it and come back and, or, have a revised plan. But I think that could just be a step that we work on, is seeing what's going to be required, and again, seeing that map that has the whole overall, because even though we walked that end, and then I've driven in the Putnam end to, pole 15, I think that it goes down to, it's very hard to visualize what is under the jurisdiction of this commission, what part of that is going to go just under the tree warden's authority, what part of that is going under the scenic road. So
Yeah, I think
we can
we can add some. Right now, the map just shows the pole locations. We can add some GIS layers to help you see the big picture. Allison, I don't know if you know if there are other wetland areas I am unaware of besides the end of Podunk Road.
That's the only wetland area along this line that, within buffer zone.
That's what I was estimating based on the GIS, just if we can have the full visual, I think that would help, and I think that would help the commission understand the entirety of the project, and also what they are actually deciding on.
That's a big statement to me. I would not have thought that was the case. So,
Oh, it's the large majority of the work is along the existing roadways.
Well, I know that,
Yeah.
but wetland-wise, Podunk is...
It's that the only natural stretch of the entire project is that stretch that we walked.
Yeah.
Everything else is pretty much managed lawn, roadside.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, on site, it may have been you and I were discussing this, because I was asking in the last meeting for an alternatives analysis for other routing. My understanding from discussions on site that DOT was the one who put the stop to that. Was that you who mentioned that to me, or something? DOT, this is
Yes.
the only path that they would approve.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I'd like some documentation of that. Not that I don't trust you, but
It's a matter of the public hearing.
yeah, I have an issue with the fact that DOT is only allowing us one. We have a duty to look for alternatives, and DOT is dictating this is the only one way that this is going to happen. You know,
yeah, it's the DOT's property. Both ways are the DOT property. This is the lesser of the property, right? So, you know, that was a while ago. Alex, I know you were involved with the or at least I think Eric Fontaine was. You know, I think you know, there was a lot of run along Route 49 that just wasn't allowed in the right of way, along the side of the road, basically, for various reasons.
Yeah, that was one of the original designs that we had, was running the pole line alongside of Route 49, and the Mass DOT denied any new installed poles alongside the roadway there.
Can you speak up a little bit, Alex? I missed that last part.
Yeah, sorry, I think it's changing my audio sound. But yeah, the Mass DOT denied us the install of any new poles along the side of Route 49 because of it being a scenic highway.
And I understand you guys are under restrictions from about 15 different regulatory agencies here, so I know this is threading a needle. But if you could provide to us, Alex, documentation around that, and so you know, once we can review it, we can maybe ask Lauren to reach out to the folks at DOT to get some clarification around specifically why that was denied. Because that seems to me that acts that way impacts more in Charlton than it does in Sturbridge, and would keep us out of this situation altogether.
Yeah, I got some color on that I know at last meeting there were some questions about, you know, how does, you know, why Sturbridge versus Charlton? Charlton, you know, it's a solar site's in Charlton, right? Yeah. So what does Sturbridge get out of this? So I did add.
Brookfield.
What's up?
I said even East Brookfield for that matter. 'Cause
Okay. Yeah. So when we say the customer, we have a lot of customers. He represents the customer. That's NextEra. NextEra is a solar developer. In Charlton, they are putting in a 5 megawatt solar site. About 150 homes get served per megawatt. Out of about the 646 people on the circuit, so the circuit that goes to that, the circuit that we are rebuilding, only 23 of them are in Charlton. So the majority of people, and you can tell me, Alex, if some of these are in Brookfield, but the majority of people who will be getting power from this and it's going to be along the existing line in Sturbridge, right, Alex?
Yeah, those are all the numbers based on this, based on the rebuild that is part of this hearing. That's the rebuild going south of the solar site into Sturbridge.
So very, you know, and when, you know, when we build these circuits, they often go through multiple towns, right? So a very small percent of them are actually in Charlton. Only 23 of the 646. You know, for the town itself, I think it's you know, it just really upgrades your infrastructure. Whether, you know, you probably don't care now, but when there is a storm, you may. A lot of those poles are 40 years old. They're rotted. I do storm duty. You usually use, with poles like that, you may lose 2 or 3. That's 2 days of work. So you're not getting your power on. I go there, I do a dig safe. I got to get the poles. We got to call the police. The police stop the traffic. It can take 2 days. 2 days people aren't getting power back. What we're looking at putting in there, and well, I got a lot of notes on this because I just don't really think it's been described too much to you guys. We're looking at putting in, where is it? 84 placement poles on Podunk Road and 17 new poles, right? So brand new poles. Also with something that we call Hendrix cable, which is a lot stronger. So you're going to have a much more robust system. You guys have a lot of trees. I get it. You don't like to lose trees, but if you do lose one in the storm, you might only just break the line now. And that's a really easy fix. Also, what I think is really fantastic, we're adding sectionalizing switches to this. So kind of like a fuse in your house. You're not going to lose the whole line anymore. So, for example, it's going to be a pole 7950. Now, Alex, I'm taking what you wrote today, but that switch at that pole helps keep 241 people energized during a temporary fault. And if it goes the other way, 83 people energized during a downstream outage. So you're taking, poles that are 25 plus years old, and and we're estimating this to be $2 million of work, for nothing, so we're trying to do right by everyone. It's hard to appease everyone, and some people you can't appease, and it's hard, but we're willing to work with them with trees, and we're also really, you're getting a lot out of this, so they're more than Charlton probably. I don't know if Charlton, maybe they get a lease money for the solar site. That's pretty nice. Also, you have the cleanup of the asbestos, and maybe, I don't know the details of it, but a money to the town annually.
Financial contribution.
Yes, so we're really trying here. I think that, it sounds like you might be leaning towards another continuance, or sort of us getting through everyone else and coming back here. But I just want to give you guys sort of a big picture of what's going, kind of what's happening with this solar project.
And that's helpful, everything is a balancing act, across the board. But if there's, for every action, there needs to be a counterbalancing reaction on the other side. And I appreciate you putting some thought into it. I really do.
No,
and taking my question seriously. I would, I would like to listen to the agent's recommendation, because that makes a lot of sense to me. Even as much as we'd like to approve it and move on, if there's going to be additional accommodations or changes made because of input from the other stakeholders, it's probably not the proper way to go about this, because then it's a whole unwinding and reapplying and all that stuff. So that's good counsel there. And it also gives us some time to maybe get that information from MassDOT, just so we can cover ourselves. You didn't look at any alternatives. Well, we did, and this was the reason why we couldn't action on that alternative. And then she can verify that with DOT. That, at least for me, that would be helpful. I'm all set, Ed.
Okay. I just feel it's ironic that the historic road issue is being brought back to us by DOT.
It is ironic for us too.
It is.
That's an irony of I stick that to these people. Anybody in the audience like to speak, please?
No, you asked me to trust you.
What?
You asked me to trust you and let you do your job. I'm going to trust you and let you do your job.
Well, we need input. That's what we're doing here. I mean, that was input.
Does the commission have any concerns outside of just the tree removal and replacement? Do you have concerns about the construction sequence, the process, or anything outside of that? Something that can be addressed between now and the next hearing?
About the asbestos.
What was that?
Asbestos removal? Has that been completed, or?
No, so
Is there any?
there's several piles of, and I think I actually have them. There's several piles of old tiles and roof shingles.
I just want to bring up too that that's not being proposed.
That's Par Corp that's doing that.
That's right. So, that's not part of this application or a commitment that National Grid is making. So I just wanted to make that clear.
It's just bait.
It actually was part of it. When I read the application, it looked like it was part of the application.
No, so, yeah, it's semantics.
We're doing the work, but
They're
it's part
doing
of their
the work.
application.
I understand. Yeah.
They have not been removed yet. They're to be removed as part of the project.
We would have to do a non-traditional, Chris Nolan from Par Corporation, I represent the developer, project owner.
Can I interrupt you for a moment? Can you make yourself closer to that mic or this mic, just so that
Sure.
people that
Don't
might
touch
be
it.
watching?
We would have to submit a non-traditional work plan to the DEP, in order to get permission to proceed, because we can't encapsulate the area and enclose it. So we would have to submit a non-traditional work plan. This company, Smith & Wesson, is experienced at doing that. That would require the testing, soil testing underneath the piles as well, that the agent has requested. So we would be happy to share that when that procedure is going on. We would of course share that with the commission, so the commission knows what's going on with the non-traditional work plan. And we would suggest that we give 48 hours notice of our intent to commence work, or some other conditions to do that portion of the work.
And right, this is just one of the several piles, so it's covered in debris, but there's a couple of these down at the end. It's just very evident that over years of the road essentially being abandoned, it became a dumping ground.
It looks like there's about 25 to 30 cubic yards of asbestos impacted material. And my experience with this is, when somebody tells you there's 25 to 30 yards of asbestos impacted material, there's probably more like 45 to 50 yards of asbestos impacted material because of the nature of it. So that's what we're looking at. And then there are several other piles that are within the right-of-way on this road that did not come back positive for asbestos, but we would still be intending to remove in any event.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Okay. So I think we need that plan, the overlay. As far as we're not going to be able to make any progress on the asbestos materials. We're going to have to trust them on that. But
Well, the DEP has jurisdiction. We have to answer to the DEP, the state, on doing any asbestos work.
right. Well, that doing nothing at all is what I'm fighting.
Oh, okay.
I think they've already been notified of it, right?
No, they're not required to be notified.
No. But I'd like to see the overlay before we take a final vote. I don't know about the rest of Preston. Eric?
Yep.
So we'll get you the overlay and the what our option, one of the original options.
Yeah.
And you can call the DOT. Good luck.
I got a couple friends over there.
Somebody's name is on that email that said no. We just need to call that person.
Multitask while you're on hold.
Or just.
I can see. I'll talk to the. It was not. The DOT. Has. We've. It was very difficult to work with them on that first option. Second option, we did a lot of things specifically the way they wanted. So I should be able to reach out to Eric Nascimento, who's the lead permitting guy. So I'll see if I can help you as well if you're interested, and see if he'll provide something.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Lauren. I tend to ask of things and not pay attention to how difficult they are actually.
Eric, you really think you could change the line at this stage?
It's our duty to search out and ask for alternatives. So if we don't ask, it sets a bad precedent. So the next time a project like this comes in front of us and somebody says, well, you didn't ask for any type of alternatives to be looked at in this project, we can at least stand and say, we've asked for it.
They come down the road and the next thing you know, they're telling us that because of the historic, Podunk is an historic road, that they're messing with us some other way.
Right.
That's.
So at least we have something on the record.
But I appreciate you guys coming before us tonight.
They're looking for
we made some
continuance?
progress. What?
Looking for continuance?
Yep, and I'm looking for a continuance.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing with regards to DEP file number 300-1200 until August 22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I second that.
Somebody's graduating in August?
Last chance for anybody in the audience to speak.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
We got a vote. All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Bishop in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, now we are at, where the heck are we?
Number 13,
Yeah.
241 and 245 Main Street. I did receive a written request for continuation to reflect the conversation earlier. Similar story. We've had this on our agenda now for
Been a while.
November of '23, and I would also suggest similar that when they are ready to reopen, we ask them to notify the butters and
Right.
what their
What
project
is their,
strategy.
what is their reasoning for the request for the continuation? Is it we're
Pending Army
waiting?
Corps of Engineer
After the
response.
first hearing, we had asked, the applicant had some differencing property lines with Army Corps, and they were to schedule a meeting to discuss and straighten that out, and that has
Well.
yet to happen.
That's awful for them. I'm sure they're probably not getting immediate responses, so.
No, they're not interested in a
I think they didn't
response.
book
They're
anything.
storing, they're storing tractor trailers down there in our buffer zone.
So then why don't,
And they're not interested in a response. They're playing us.
so then why
in my opinion.
why don't we ask for verification of the communication that they've been having with the Army Corps when they come to the next meeting? I have no problems making a motion for a continuance,
Yeah.
but this has been going on for months now with no movement. So if
I'll do
they're
a similar
claiming,
process
if they're
as
claiming that the reason for it is lack of, I'd like to see some verification of the communication between them and the Army Corps. That seems reasonable,
Yep.
right? So I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing with regards to DEP file number 300-1184 until the 22nd of November.
August?
August. November. What the hell? It's Thanksgiving.
I mean, it might make it that far anyway, so you never know.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Goodwin in favor.
We've done 14, we've done 15, 16 we will be tabling. So my request is to hop down to old business G1968 Paradise.
All right.
And this discussion is regarding the removal of 3 trees and removal of 2 and replacement of 3.
Which number is this now?
Sorry?
Which number are we at?
We are down to
1968 Paradise.
Down to G.
Just gonna zoom in on the area that we're looking at here. I think this is the right plan.
That's the revised.
Oh, this 68, okay.
Do we have pictures of this one?
Oh, yeah.
Is it
That was
out?
from the last,
This is,
Yeah. Our last meeting.
We just really been discussing it.
It's 68 Paradise.
So there's a tree that's,
It's kind of hanging over, was touching
yeah,
the second floor. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's the ash saplings. For the record, my name is Joe Cohen. I'm the landscape architect project. There are the ash saplings in that area. Those are the ones that we saw that are growing into the house. And then
it's actually the house that's growing into the ash sap. Let me correct you on that.
I would have to agree.
Go ahead. It's the Irish, I can't.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't blame you. Right there by the LC label is an existing oak that, has also been impacted by the house shift and the associated grading. So that one was the second tree we asked for permission to remove. We went on our site walk on the 2nd. We looked at these trees. the commission made recommendations as to replacements. So this plan reflects those changes, adding the red maple, as well as 2 trees in the vicinity of where the ash saplings moved.
I remember the 4-inch diameter.
Correct.
And what would the 2 trees be that, here?
So you're talking to plan left there?
Yeah.
So those 2 are Amelanchier, so serviceberry trees. They're exceptional for, growing as an understory, small tree, very good habitat, food source, and they do great as, in an area that will occasionally be washed through water there.
What, can you get them in size?
Yeah, so typically, you're looking at probably 10 to 12 foot is the maximum from a nursery you could get.
And what would the diameter of that be?
So they come multi-stem for the most part, but you're probably talking 2.5, 3-inch diameter per liter.
Per liter, yeah.
Yep.
So how do you get to the 4-inch diameter?
They don't commercially sell them that size.
I mean, within your mind, how do you get to it? Just ignore us, or what would you do?
No, we have the 4-inch diameter on the red maple. We have the 4-inch diameter on the red bud. For these trees here, age-wise to a 4-inch diameter tree, they're approximately the same age. They just don't grow large single-liter trunks.
Like what?
Yeah, so it'll be 2 clumps of trees. Age-wise, they're the same age as, something that would have a 4-inch diameter.
Okay.
So in layman's terms, we're putting 2 big trees down here in the front, right? And then towards the back, where you're looking, there's going to be a clump of smaller trees.
I thought you were from Maine.
I am from Maine.
Well, you sound like you're from New York City. You can all these big trees.
Well, they're not big, but they're larger trees.
Larger.
4-inch,
yeah.
4-inch versus 2.5-inch. Yeah, they're not big, but
The reason I chose these for this space is there's an existing larger ash here, probably 50 feet tall.
Yep.
There's some other vegetation here. If I plant something there that needs sun requirements, that doesn't thrive as an understory tree, it's going to be dead in 3 years. So
yeah, no, understood.
In
But
this area,
just to clarify, is that one tree or you said a clump? So I'm curious as to.
yeah. So each, call it root ball, has 3 or 4 leaders that come out of it.
Oh, okay.
So it is 2 separate trees, and each one will have multiple leaders.
Okay. So it's 2 to 3, essentially, offshoots or trees out of each clump.
Yeah, more than that. Probably 4 or 5 leaders per tree.
Okay.
So, and then the other trees. So those are the ones that we.
Hello. This isn't right.
Yeah. I'll look at them.
Yeah, that's not us. There's a nice open condition in these spaces. Plenty of sun, so in those areas, a large tree would be more suitable.
Also gonna have a visual barrier between the neighboring home too. Because for that construction, the grade was brought up, and for this new construction, the grade was brought up. So when we were discussing it, we were taking that into account. Well, just gonna be a new flow path too. So what's gonna be able to handle that area?
Gotcha.
All right?
I mean, Lauren, given the best of the bad alternatives, is this the best of the bad alternatives?
For the record, this is an exceptional plan.
No, not having to do this again was the best.
This is gonna come back again.
It's coming again.
Yeah.
The other side's coming back.
Yeah,
We're at the other side of the property the next meeting.
Okay, well, can we agree?
Yeah, we're just gonna
I
decide.
think let's agree on this one then.
Are they allowed to do that?
No, only if we let
So we're
them.
gonna make,
We,
Approving a minor change for the removal of 2 trees and a replacement for 3,
okay.
as discussed.
So moved.
a second.
Any discussion?
For the record, it's DEP file number 300-1155.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor? Carson Stewart? Thanks a lot.
Is there a continuation for the other side, or is that just old
Just come
business?
back.
Okay.
Deal with her.
I'll keep showing up till you tell me not to.
There you go.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
18, huh?
Plimpton Community Forest, Alaskan Valley Walk, Bird Walk.
Oh yeah, we didn't have a date last time, right?
Conservation land use request for the use of forest. It's sponsored by Opakam Land Trust, Foraging Height, Naturalists. Approximate number of people, 25.
Like Sturbridge.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? I'd like to be fly fishing on that.
So aside from the fact that it's inappropriately named since it's in September, I'd like to make a motion to approve the permit for the Plimpton Community Forest last Green Valley Walktober Walk on September 26, 2024.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Carson Stewart in favor.
In their defense, I think it's a series.
No.
Most of it is in October.
Oh, yeah,
They
well,
sent me like a thing on it, but.
Oktoberfest is actually.
September doesn't work.
it's true, it
October
is.
doesn't have quite the same ring.
Weptember?
Where are we? What?
20.
20.
We're doing,
Agents update.
we're doing 16? Did we do 16?
16 is being tabled. It was a tree removal that I was not going to completely authorize, so they were going to be on this agenda, but no one can make it tonight, so they're going to be here in August. We'll discuss more, but in the meantime, we will be requesting that more commissioners go visit the site, see the tree.
Yep.
Okay. Go down
Age
to.
and update.
Perfect. So still trying to catch up, getting a good handle on good majority of the projects that are before us now. I still need to go back a little on some of the ones that are coming back, open orders, trying to take advantage of any downtime that I have to get myself familiar, especially as more people are calling for pre-construction or questions about their orders and things like that. So that's always a tedious process, and it obviously comes up based off of who's reaching out and who's having problems. So we'll keep you updated as things progress, but that's going along nicely. And thank you to Erin for all her help and assistance in getting me caught up and continuing to. I have also been taking time to meet with some of our various land use stakeholders to try and get acquainted with them, their roles and goals essentially. So I've met with SLAC, I've met with Opakam Land Trust yesterday. So just trying to tie in some of these relationships, and I have some more to kind of go for. But essentially with the overall goal of trying to get representatives of each of these groups together on a semi-regular basis to discuss upcoming projects, things that these different organizations are trying to work towards, and how they'll play a role in conservation, whether it's projects that they have upcoming and they don't know what they need to file, or projects that might work with other departments if the trails or with rec, and trying to forced communication in the masses, so going one by one with all of those. The meeting with Slack was really beneficial as well, just trying to see at the bit of the rut that they're in of what is their actual role and where do they go when they have problems. So I'll be looking forward to working with them more in the future. I had sent everybody, if you got a chance to look at it today, the bond table that we're looking at. And this is more so just a tool. It's not anything to hold you by. But when we're looking at putting bond amounts on different projects and it's trying to come up with the amount, it is helpful to the commission if we have some type of logic behind it. More so what I'm looking at is if they were to completely stop, you know, what are we looking at to fix it? Whether it's adding, you know, purchasing in stone and laying that down, whether it's having to seed the area, having DPW go out. So some it's going to be circumstantial and it's going to be case by case, but having a basic framework, I found that it would be most helpful to kind of go based off of distance. And this, you know, can encompass a a la carte type thing that if you're, you know, constructing a new home and it has wetland crossing and new septic and new home, you just kind of bundle it in versus, you know, setting the, however, you know, we kind of approach, but I think the framework will be beneficial going down the road.
Did you benchmark these numbers against other cities, towns?
I did not know. I don't really know how many other
They do.
commissions
Other
have.
commissions do, but I think it's also case, they kind of do what we had been doing, which is case by case.
Right, so it's as I don't know how many have like an actual foundation that they go based off of, but I can reach out to more of my peers.
And does town council have to review this at all? No?
This isn't going to be an active policy. It's just simply a guide and a tool that we'll use going forward. And again, it's circumstantial. So for some projects, we might say the amount needs to be higher. For certain projects, we might need to be lower. But when we're working on issuing, you know, recommended conditions, it gives us some framework to go off of. Or when the commission is here and discussing it openly in the meeting and someone says, this is outrageous that I have to put this bond down, it gives us something to kind of base our information off of. So I'm not really, you know, suggestions are recommended. It's just not, it's not really an action item. But it will help us down the road.
So we have the bond in case something goes wrong and we have to.
If something goes wrong, if we have to fix it, but also, and this is not this isn't, cannot be the main reason for it, but it helps ensuring that the project gets done to completion. It's a common issue that there's just not a lot of closeout because, you know, especially for developers, they build, they sell their house, that's that. You need to walk away, so.
So I'm just wondering whether stormwater outlet, $1,000 is sufficient to.
It's gonna, case by case, so something simple like, well, not that it's simple, but the project that we just looked at where it's, you know, discharging the pipes. So if we were having a bunch of silt coming up, the cost that it would take for us to put erosion control socks on, and things like that. If it was an extensive issue, say you've got 2 drainage outlets that are going from the site and it is so beyond damage that you've got, or it's, you know, a bigger pipe or a higher property, you might want to increase that number because you're anticipating that more silt is going to get pushed through at some point in the process versus a flat site. You're going to have less issues. So framework, a tool to guide by, obviously, not held to anything, but
good work.
Yeah.
And you know.
And so I find it interesting your comment because I've solely looked at the bonds as not as a curative effort, but as a compliance effort. And you're saying that that shouldn't be the motivation. It should be more of a curative.
The verbally listed motivation.
Yeah. Oh.
This is
okay.
a public meeting being recorded.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm just, I mean, I'm evolving my understanding of what the, you know.
But to your point, Karsten, there are many projects now that are very quick to get their project
certificate of compliance, and there are some that have low numbers that are not as excited to do that.
Right. But if, the town is holding on to a significant sum of money, they're more likely to want to continue to follow through with that.
We could invest it like Starbucks.
Well, given that this is a curative effort, then do we need to
There's
build
no
in-
action item. It just, if you have comments, you can email me your comments as well. If you're, take a look at it and say, hey, in my experience, something like this, this is too high or this is too low, or maybe we might want to add this line item. But again, this framework will help us in doing our job, and when we have meetings, and if the bond amount gets brought up, it, gives you something to go back, and consistency. I'm big on being consistent, so, say neighbor A and neighbor B are both doing a septic replacement on the same property, and you require a $2,500 bond and a $500 bond, and it comes up as to, well, why did this person only have to do this much? Again, it'll help provide that framework to remain consistent too.
What does Sturbridge actually do with the bond?
Just stays in an account.
Deposit into.
Do they get interest for it?
No, they do
No
not.
interest account.
What's the point?
Sturbridge Town Hall Savings Union.
Yeah.
No. And actually, in my previous role, this was something I had actually talked to Becky about too, because I was finding a challenge with big projects such as subdivisions is how do you motivate them to close out? And she had actually talked to me about the bond process that they were working on. So not just a problem, it's a problem across the state. If you do a records check on open DEP numbers, that list is so long it'll make your head spin. And then it also becomes more of a challenge when people come to us 10 years down the road after their order's expired and they want to close out, and at that point it's a completely different lot. So again, feel free to send me comments if you have any. And one other thing, when we had talked about the continuances and re-notifying of abutters, I thought I had printed out, but I guess I didn't, but I'll represent it again next week when Flora is here. But in my previous role, we had implemented a policy that, town council had checked over, but a policy that would basically state that if a project had no action on it and request for continuance for X amount of hearings or 6 months, that they were required to re-notify and re-advertise. So that way it just, again, consistency and holds it to it. But
it seems
I
like a
found
good
it
policy.
effective.
This stuff falls off of people's radars, so.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially in today with, how everything currently is and the economy is, it's every engineer is backed up, every surveyor is backed up. So sometimes getting the turnaround for getting the revisions on the plans is much longer, especially if it's the homeowner that's primarily interacting with us. So, there's circumstances, but when projects are just going on and they are dragging you, the volunteers on, and that are actively working on the site and doing the research and doing the site inspections, and nothing's coming of it, not fair to you, and it's not fair to the abutters that are waiting to hear what's going to happen in their neighborhood. And that's all the update that I have for you today.
Great. Great job. Going along, this was a good meeting.
The updates?
Any updates, CPC hasn't met,
Okay.
and, what? Yeah.
We want to tentatively say that the site visit is Tuesday, August
I
12th.
probably can't do that, but what about the 14th?
Neither of the day, none of those days that week?
What about the 14th? Because
Just that, in order to get the site visit and then get you back the information, the later in the week that we get it, that's only giving us a day.
I might,
Well, figure it out and let us know.
I mean, it would be nice to have the majority of people, so.
Yeah.
We'll just say the
Okay.
week of August 11th, I'll put out dates and then everyone can reply if they would like.
Good.
When, Ed, you had requested that on the next meeting, we put reorganizing on the agenda. You want to include, committees as representatives for the committees as well?
Absolutely, yes. Yep.
All right, I think it's Roy, take us away.
What?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
I never thought we'd get out of here before 9 o'clock when I looked at that agenda. Good job.